Okay, looks like we have everyone here. Call this meeting to order. First order of business, roll call.
Alderman Bass,
Here.
Alderman Cleaver,
Here.
Alderman Headley,
Here.
Alderman Knox,
Here.
Alderman Stratton,
Here.
Alderman Totten.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Okay, next order of business, approval of agenda.
No changes, Mayor.
Okay, next order of business, proclamations, seeing none. Next order of business, consent of agenda.
Mayor, I move we accept the consent agenda.
I have a motion to accept the consent agenda from Alderman Headley. Do I have a second?
Second. Alderman
Second,
Cleaver.
Alderman Cleaver. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nancy
All
said
opposed,
aye.
same sign. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Next order of business, previous business, seeing none. New business, seeing none. Presentation, seeing none. Public hearing, seeing none. Ordinances, seeing none. And where's my right? There we are. Next order of business, resolutions.
Mayor, I move we accept resolution 20-40.
I have motion from Alderman Headley to accept motion or resolution R 20-40. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Totten. Any discussion?
Mayor and board, if you remember back when we went through budget time, one of the things that was included in there was an update to our employee handbook. The one we were working off of was from 2014 with some revisions in 2015. Littler Law was the company that we used to review and update that, just to kind of address some inconsistencies that were found and ensure that we're current with legal requirements and general employment practice policies. One of the reasons the packet is so large is 300 and some pages of it are the kind of the marked up versions that we did corrections on, and then the final version. So that's the reason for that. But some of the highlights that we looked at or reviewed or made changes to were we added in the disability insurance, which is something that we've had now, but wasn't included in that. The service award program for years of service for employment with the city. We added in Christmas Eve as being the holiday. If you remember last year, that was something that the board voted to include, so we weren't waiting until a couple days before and deciding what we were going to do with it. And we made some modifications to the sick leave donation policy. The reason we did that was because of the disability insurance that the city now provides. So basically the employees will still be covered for the same amount of time, but we lowered the threshold on what they'd be able to ask for. We looked to address smoking and vaping, and then made some changes to dress standards. If you read the old ones, some of those were fairly outdated, to say the least. So we spent a lot of time with that. But administration went through it. So myself, Teresa, and Kalila spent a lot of time with it. And then kind of went back and forth with Littler Law. And then after they had their draft done, we had the department head team review it. And we had Jeff Place with Littler also review it to make sure that it would be in line with our labor agreements with police officers and sergeants. But at the end of the day, we feel like it was a good process. I feel a little more comfortable about where our employee handbook is as far as being up to speed with legal requirements and not contradicting itself. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. And if I can't do it, Kalila would be able to jump in.
Any other discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Resolution carries 6-0.
Mayor, I move we accept resolution 20-41.
I have a motion from Alderman Headley to accept resolution R 20-41. Do I have a second?
Second,
I'm sorry, who was that?
yes, Knox.
Oh, all right. Second by Alderman Knox. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Oops, I'm sorry, discussion.
Mayor and members of the board, what you have before you is kind of a follow-up to, was it the last board meeting or the one before, where we had Jack Ryan Feldman with Baker Tilly come and talk to you guys about some options on refunding some of our bonds. This is the ordinance that would get that process going. So there was approximately 4.75 million that we were looking to refinance with the goal of, being able to save on interest costs. And with that, the principal would kind of be restructured to pay that debt down faster. So this is exactly what we were talking about there with one of those options that they gave you. If you had any specific questions, we do have Jack from Baker Tilly and Megan Miller also here that can help you with that.
Any further questions, comments?
When this just starts the process so we can get the interest rates locked and everything, or I read somewhere, I don't know, it was 0.96% is what we were looking at.
Yes, when we ran the refunding schedules, we estimated that the overall true interest cost would be around 0.9% on the refunding bonds. Obviously, that's subject to market movement between now and November. But yes, this resolution just kicks off the whole process and empowers the city staff, bond counsel, financial advisor to draw up all the documents and get that process started. And we'll be back before you on sale night when to approve the award of the bonds.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Mayor, I move we accept resolution 20-42.
I have a motion from Alderman Headley, accept resolution R 20-42. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Totten. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, if you remember when we approved the agreement to accept the CARES funding from Jackson County, one of the things that we were using was technology upgrades and being able to, if we get in a situation like this again, give citizens more options on being able to access, whether it's permits or just general information about the city. So what you have before you is a proposal to get the My Civic citizen engagement and the cloud computing from Tyler Technologies, which that's the company that we use for our utility billing software, our court software, and our permitting software. But the idea of this is that it should allow people to do more things remotely from a citizen base. Online permitting is one of the big things that we've wanted to do for quite a while, but just haven't. And this COVID has kind of made us realize that we do need to go ahead and do that. So when the funding became available through the CARES money, this was one of the things that rose to the top. And the cloud computing is kind of one of the things that is also going to free up a little bit of hopefully future maintenance costs on our side from having to host everything on site. So everything will be run through Tyler's cloud service.
Any further questions, discussion?
Yeah, Ken, just to clarify, I thought on the CARES that could only be used for like personnel or disinfectants and that kind of stuff.
No, so there was actually quite a few categories to it. And as far as personnel goes, it can only be things that basically like first responders pay could be included in it. And then if you were off of work because of COVID, it could be in there. But then there were other categories. It was basically anything that was unbudgeted, that was COVID related or became a need for COVID. So technology is one of those things that is allowable.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit, Ken, about the, so it looks like it's a 5-year agreement. Does that 5-year agreement include the annual maintenance costs, or will it increase, or will this be rolled into all the other modules we have already?
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of rolled into that. So the cost that you see here, the upfront cost is the considerable chunk of that. But then there will be a yearly maintenance fee. And as far as specifics on, I would probably turn that over to Mark or Steven on exactly what that looks like. But it's similar to their other programs. When you first get into it, you have that upfront cost, and then it's the yearly maintenance. Like I said, we're fairly familiar with Tyler. That's what we've used for quite a while with utility billing and permitting, and then court now as well.
Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. So all for resolutions. City Attorney report.
Mayor, I don't have anything to report this evening.
Okay. City Administrator and staff report.
You had a written report from community development that should have been emailed out to you. The only other thing, as I'd stated in an email before, we're hoping to have the changes made to the chambers to make that in an environment to where we won't struggle with what we just struggled with for the last 2 weeks. So we've already got somebody working on that, and we should be good to go, but that will help us with court as well. So looking forward to getting that done, but I warn you, it will look a little different when you go in there next time.
That's all for staff.
That is all, yes, thank you.
Okay. Board of Alderman reports and comments. Alderman Bass,
I have nothing at this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Cleaver.
Yeah, just one thing. It's been, had a couple citizens bring my attention. Maybe this is something for Mark, if he could maybe look at, but they at Snaya Bar and AA, at that intersection, where the Casey sits at the stoplight. People have said that road markings, for the turn lane going eastbound, isn't one. Kind of, they've seen some people that have had turning from the lane, that goes straight. So I don't know if maybe you could just have someone kind of maybe just check that out and see where, how the markings are laid out there, if they're gone or, need to be repainted or.
Yes,
all
sir.
I
We'll
have.
take a look at that.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Alderman Headley.
One thing, just wanted to say thanks to Mark and his team for the work they did on the stop sign, the four-way stop here in Woodbury at a somewhat of a blind intersection. It's brought, I didn't even think about it. I drive through it almost every day, but it's brought to me by one of the other neighbors as he watched a kid almost get hit. So I told him I'd at least bring it up and told him that I'm not going to guarantee anything because the whole stop sign issue, as we all have dealt with in the past, is somewhat elusive based on all the rules. But it looks like this one's going to make it through, and appreciate all the efforts.
Thank you.
Alderman Knox.
I have nothing at this time.
Alderman Stratton.
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
Alderman Totten.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, mayor's report. I have nothing to report this time. Any need for executive session?
There's not.
Seeing none, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for their cooperation.
Have a good
Thank you.
evening.
I'll be careful when you drive home.
Or the dog or something, right?
Right.
Good night,
See you.
everyone.
All right.